Hello everybody and welcome to round 6 of season 10 here on the Race Department Formula 1 Championship on the PlayStation 4. As you can see, we are around the streets of Monte Carlo, and as always Jamie Mayers alongside Michael Fleming. And I will just warn you that Michael may be a little bit actually Flemmy,
nice.
as he's not well at the moment, but I digress. It should be a pretty good race. We've got 17 racers currently with us this week. A little bit down on what we normally have, but we aim to bring you the same amount of entertainment that we usually do. And currently I think Ben is our first man on our first man on the circuit. He's got a pretty big gap behind him, so
he also has a bit of his right front end plate missing.
Oh,
a lot
dear.
of his right front end plate missing. So I think he might dive straight back into the pits. He does. Guy is also suffering a similar issue in the first sector, so I guess, is it Tom that was next after him?
yep, Tom, Mr. Thomas, I don't know where I'm going, Glenn, returning to us for one round only. Manages to get through turn 1 alright. He's deputising in the Ferrari just for this week, as Mikey Wolford is currently in the process of moving house. Congratulations to him, by the way, for that. I do hope he's actually watching this. Probably not, as we've got yellows in sector 3. Not sure where that's coming from, but we're gonna go. Where's Tom? Let's find him again. Very tight little circuit this. We've got a dry race and a dry qualifying for you. Tom actually managing to get through the second to last corner, getting through the last corner. Yellow's in sector 2. And Martin sets the fastest lap of an 11.9, 11.8 rather. So I'm assuming that Tom corner cut his lap. Milos, who's also back for this week, goes fastest on an 11.4. More yellows in sector 3. That's one of the Toro Rossos, I think. Nope, it was
Mitchell was on a... Well, he was on a great lap. Well, it was very aggressive, locking up into every corner, maximising every apex, but unfortunately knocked his right front wing, so he's come in from his lap. Which, I mean, even if he'd have completed it, I reckon he'd have still been in the probably in line for pole, but yeah, seems to be quite a few people bailing on their first run. Guy's bailed after his wing damage. Sean is now currently on his lap, I think, going through the first sector. He has a full front wing, unlike most people at this point, so we'll keep an eye out for him.
down through the Lowe's hairpin, just about getting through there. I remember the last time I drove this game, trying to get the car through that corner is a bit of a ball ache, as Kaz goes fastest on a 10.8, goes 6 tenths faster. No, more than 6 tenths. No, yeah, 6 tenths. Drew's also on a lap. Sean using all the road and more. Using a lot of that curb. I wonder if that invalidated his lap. No, it didn't, because he's carrying on. Oh, and straight to the barriers. So that ruins that lap. He will, of course, still set a time, but that puts him 7th. Decent banker lap, but he's going to want more than that. Here comes Drew, I think, to complete his lap. That was an 11.7, but I'm guessing he got that lap time deleted. More yellows in sector 2. I think that's going to be a what's the word I'm looking for?
Slower car.
No.
Getting out of the way. No. Ah. A Ben?
No, I don't actually know what I was going to say, so I'm just going to end that sentence right there.
Well, Andrew is continuing on, I think, going for another lap immediately after. Obviously, the tyres do hold on fairly well around here. Even if you do double lock up into the Nova chicane, he seems to be still attacking the lap. He's fairly confident about his chances. He's been putting in 10s in practice, so he'll be hoping that he can qualify high up the field and get his second podium of the season. As Sean just topples his Dutch counterpart Cass for provisional pole.
Yeah, I'm currently on board with Mitchell. We go through Mirabeau and into the Lowe's hairpin. He's going to want to make sure that he gets up there. Ben goes fastest on a 10.5. Very, very quick lap times out there. And Mitchell's going to want to put himself right up there because he is currently in 4th place, so obviously in the championship. So he's going to want to try and maximise the fact that Mikey isn't here. And the fact that Gatis... Oh no, wait, Gatis is here. But Gatis yet to set a lap time.
And he's on a pad, and they're always at a bit of a disadvantage around here. So... whether he can pull out a top tier performance like we've seen so far this season from Gatis, I don't know, but Mitchell does indeed finally displace Ben. That would have been worrying if Ben got pole here on his first race here on the way on, but if he does qualify high up, it could end up being an interesting race, because I doubt his race pace matches up to the likes of Cass or Sean, and watching them try and outmaneuver him could be very interesting. But Mitchell will be very happy with how the grid looks right now. 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, sorry, just watching Gatis there run into the barriers at the last corner, so that ruined his lap. He's up to 11th place though with it. Don't know if he'll be able to get another lap in. I don't really know what him and his teammate are doing right now, because they've both slowed right the way down at Mirabeau. They want to make sure that they don't do that too much, because 1, there are people on their laps, and 2, they probably might mess themselves out of another run if they do that. As Troy hits the barrier through Tabac, he's currently in 14th place. So that was Sean getting nicely out of the way for him. And the last
Cass is building up to him.
That might have been Cass, actually, that I was looking at. Troy
just
up
crossing
to
the
8th.
line now to start that.
That was indeed Cass, so let's ride on board with him, and you want to take us round the lap of Monte Carlo.
Yeah, so we're coming to the very fast left-hander at Massenet, and he's clipped the inside wall there, and that could be lap over. Yep, I think he's aborted that one. So great opportunity to take us around the streets of Monaco at a leisurely speed. Look at that. 24 miles an hour. Beautiful. Get some nice shots of the marina around Portier. It's beautiful.
Well, that was fantastic. Thank you, Cass, for ruining that. Who else can we look at? I mean, Milos is in 5th, but I think he's just completed a lap. Got Harry just coming through the swimming pool chicane to try and finish his lap. Lots of oversteer on the exit. is this lap going to put him? This puts him up to 6th place. Good for him. Troy's going again. Stays 8th. Got Jerry, I think, on the lap as well. Thomas crosses the line and he's up to 9th. His teammate does not improve his lap time, so he stays 11th. Gatis just making it out of the pits with 1.5 minutes left. Should be able to get a lap time in. He's gonna have to put his foot down. Guy's also on an out lap.
Looking at the times, I remember in practice here last season, Mitchell managed a 1 minute 9.6. So theoretically, we should see some major improvements from especially the top guys. I'd be very surprised if that sort of top 4 stays as is until the end of the session. They're all on out laps. I think Ben has started his lap. He's gone through the first sector fairly slowly by the looks of it, so that might be his session over, but I'm sure we'll see some big improvements out on the track to Aberdeen. Yeah,
his first sector was a 19.1, which is half a second off of Sean, who's just gone through the Lowe's hairpin. I think I just saw the timing screen just flicker at the moment.
Cass jumped up to 2nd.
That's what caught my eye, I guess. Yeah.
He ran it in deep into turn 1, but I think he's still trying to go around. And in fact, he's done an 18.8 first sector, so he could still improve this lap.
That's a great first sector. Here goes
Ben exiting the final corner.
Sean might have invalidated. No, Sean's carrying on, so I guess his lap time did get invalidated. This put him pole position on a 9.8. And Mitchell looks like he's slow. Yep, so that's it. Kaz looks slow as well. Ben obviously crossed the line after the flag, I think.
No, he crossed it just as the flag dropped.
And there's
so he does have another lap.
What?
Williams?
What was that? Synchronized spinning down there at 48.
Oh, guy's been hit by Andrew's ghost car. Fantastic. Anyway, Ben's on a lap. That's the one.
Well, he was on a lap. He hit the wall on the exit of the swimming pool, hit the wall on the exit of Tabac.
Jerry's on a lap, going around the final corner.
Well, he's still going. He's still going. Lots of oversteer on the exit. Oh, and more oversteer on the... Yeah, he's backed out of that.
Well, Jerry improved, but it wasn't enough.
And that is your qualifying session done for Monte Carlo. Sean taking the pole position and Mitchell taking 2nd. That's your front row. Kaz and Ben, your 2nd row. Harry and Drew. Milos, Troy, Thomas, Jerry. And then you have the rest of the grid. Gatis only down there in 14th place, so that's not where he wanted to be. Especially given the fact that he's 2nd in the championship right now.
Yeah, I think we've got 4 pad users running tonight, and they sit 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th. So that would probably explain that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Not the easiest input device to use around here, and they are at a disadvantage, it seems.
So, there we go. Your top 6 covered by a 2nd, so it's not the usual close times that we usually see at other tracks. But of course, this is like no other track. All the way down to 3.9 seconds at the back there on the super soft, so that will be interesting. Thank you very much, Fraser, for the host. And welcome to all of you that will probably turn off very shortly because you've seen that it's F1 2017. I mean, please do stick around. Thank you very much, Fraser. You're just waiting for the race now. Turn 1's going to be very interesting. The shortest distance from the start line to turn 1 of 111 meters only. Basically the length of a braking distance. And we have 30 seconds before this race begins. Here we go. We've got 3 lights, we've got 4, we've got 5. And it's going Monte Carlo. Sean just about getting into turn 1 in the lead. Everybody else through safely. I don't see anybody off the road or anything. Everybody's still with their front wings intact. Got a bit of side-by-side action going on in the back. Jerry's made a couple of places. Just waiting for the timing screen to catch up with everything. We've got a McLaren of, oh no, we've got a spin down at the Lowe's hairpin with Thomas. And one of the McLarens, I'm not sure which one that is, that's Jerry. So I can only assume Jerry and Thomas got together.
Gerard actually ran straight into the back of Thomas after going side by side through turn 3, Casino Square. Just ran straight into the back of Thomas, pitching him into a spin. I think Jerry just got caught up between a rock and a hard place there.
Yeah, we've got Tom and Thomas.
Why did you try that?
Why on earth would you try such a manoeuvre into the back? Tom somehow managed to escape with his life there. I don't know if Thomas has got damage. Gerard definitely has damage. Thomas does have damage. Front left puncture, I think. Certainly got damage to the front wing. Back up the front, and Sean is already flying away with this one. 2.5 seconds in the lead.
Mitchell has front wing damage, and that is basically going to ruin his race and elevate Sean up into the lead. So that could be your race done and dusted, so long as Sean doesn't do anything too ambitious whilst out in the lead. Cass will want to make quick gains on Sean if he can get past Mitchell, but it's just so impossible to overtake here. He'll have to really force the issue if he wants to make it work.
Yeah, I can only assume that Mitchell ran into one of the barriers on that first lap, because pretty sure he wasn't that close. Oh, as Kaz has a look down the inside into the hairpin, couldn't quite get it done. Guy's already got a time penalty.
That's impressive.
It is impressive, and we got to keep our eyes on Sean that he doesn't do the same. Although, with him being 4 seconds now in the lead, I don't think it will matter too much if he does. As we've
and Martin's just lost out there because Frederick was pulling into the pits because of front wing damage. Martin was trying to take him on the inside around Raskas. Quickly realised what was happening, so had to back out, and that promotes his teammate Gatis up into 9th place.
Yeah, Gatis is our hard charge of the race with 5 places gained so far. So he's making some good moves up into the points now. Remember, like I said, he is the 2nd place man in the championship, so he would want to do that. We've also got Tom and Gerard. No, that's not Gerard. We've got Tom up to 12th position as well.
Cass really looking at Mitchell here. He knows he's got to do it now or never. He's going to go down the inside.
What a lovely move there, and good driving from Mitchell to not put him in the wall. As Sean sets the fastest lap of the race to stretch that gap to 6 seconds. So now we're going to get to see what Kaz can do. Can Kaz close up to Sean? I'm not quite sure he can, because Sean's very good around here when he's not crashing into stuff. As Guy pits, obviously with some damage. That promotes Tom up to 11th position.
Yeah, Guy's damage leading him to have 6 seconds worth of penalties by the end of lap 3, so that hasn't helped him. Our boss has also gone into the naughty book. He is following the train that is Harry and Andrew. Ben actually looking fairly racy. He's pulled away from them a little bit. Harry is sporting quite a bit of front wing damage. That probably has a lot to do with it. But yeah, Ben now is the next one to challenge Mitchell. Can he make the move as successful as Cass did? I would be interested to see. I don't have a faith.
Yeah, he doesn't look to be attacking the braking zones as much as Kaz is. I mean, Kaz has already pulled a 1.3 second gap. Make that 1.5 seconds. It's going up by the corner. Such is the extent of Mitchell's front wing damage. Oh, and he almost runs into the back of Mitchell there. What am I talking about? Mitchell pits. He's obviously had enough of that damaged front wing. And yeah, that promotes Ben up to 3rd position. It'll be interesting to see where Mitchell comes out with all this, because he's going to end up in traffic. Because you've got yellows in sector 1, and that's Milos off the road at turn 1, but he rejoins. Mitchell's all the way down there in 12th position, and he's got a 30-second gap to the next car, so that's not going to be too bad, as Guy smashes his car to pieces at the swimming pool chicane.
Yeah, that looks like a huge high-speed crash. What a send-off. What a way to honour Ayrton Senna on the anniversary of his death.
Yeah, he's done that so hard, he's knocked both front wheels off, and they are now floating in the ground as Sean has to navigate around. Hopefully Kaz sees the debris. Hopefully nobody crashes into him. Oh, the car's already been removed from the track. I was fully expecting someone to come flying around and clout into the back of him. Ben pits. He's got a lot of front wing damage. Harry pits. He's also got a lot of front wing damage. And Drew up to 3rd. I don't think he's got any front wing damage at all. He does not. So fair play on him.
Interesting that both Ben and Harry are opting for the super soft tyre. I think you can just about get it to the end, but it is a bit of a dog by the time you get to the end of the race. Importantly, Mitchell's gone to the soft tyre. Now that should see him through to the end of the race fairly handsomely. He just has to make sure that he doesn't knock his front wing, otherwise it'll be a long stint to cope with that damage.
Yes, so there you go. Mitchell was your first man to pit. He's 9th, and he's actually pulled quite the gap on Ben. That was good. It'll be interesting to see what the undercut does, if Mitchell can actually get back past Kaz. Obviously,
yeah, he's got to stay out of traffic, man.
Yeah, he's got 3.7 seconds and a penalty. So, just as I say that, he's pretty much ruined that chance. Pretty good battle between Tom and Jerry. Hey! Couldn't have planned that any better if I tried. But they're currently battling for the 7th position. Tom getting a little squirrely out the last corner. So Jerry might do a Dan Dare into turn 1. He has a look, but pulls out of it. Probably the smart decision. He's not going to try up into Casino, is he? No. Oh, as Jerry nearly puts it in the wall.
Yeah, Jerry's still recovering from his second lap spin, was it? No, it was on the first lap when they came together at Lowe's Airpins. So normally the fast starter in this league has had that title stripped away from him, as Tom has gained 9 places and Jerry duly puts it in the wall on the entry to the tunnel. Getting a little bit frustrated there behind the Ferrari and loses the rear end. The rears were probably still a bit warm after he nearly binned it on the exit of Casino Square. So Yeah, that could be race over for Jerry. Not only is he out of position, he now only has half a front wing to go with it. And
Oh,
a
that's
time
a
penalty of
big
10
lockup. As he just decided to ignore the chicane. His front brake's not working at all. We've got Harry right on the back of Ben. Remember, they pitted together. That gap's about 0.6 of a second. We've got Mitchell on the back of Tom now, so that should be interesting to see if Mitchell's going to be brave enough to send it down the inside. Or if he's going to play the patient game, but of course he can't do that too much. Especially with the lead gap now going up to 7.2 seconds. He's going to at least want to be ahead of his teammate. But if he wants to do that when his teammate pits, he's going to have to start getting his elbows out. And quickly, as we've got yellows in sector 2.
Milos again down. I think he's clipped his inside left rear at the Nearval chicane and it's flipped him into a spin. So another mistake from him drops him even further behind Phantom Fruit Twist.
There's Tom with a penalty. He's obviously getting flustered with Mitchell behind him. Mitchell having a look into the Nearval chicane. Couldn't do anything with it. Those super soft tyres of Tom. I mean, I would say they're going off by now, but I think we would suppose. Oh, Mitchell trying to go around the outside. Surely not. He's going to look for a switch back, but Tom parks it nicely on the apex and holds the position for at least another couple of corners. Mitchell looking to the inside as Sean gives himself a penalty. More like that and he might just hand his winner's trophy over.
Yeah, Mitchell has a bit of a dilemma here because Tom's in just for this race. He's got nothing to lose. He's fully entitled to fight for the position. And he's probably one of the slower people on the circuit, so he's the last person Mitchell would have wanted to come up
against.
Here he goes. Good run.
Here he goes. Oh, a little bit of wheel bagging. And again, he still can't get past. Tom doing a superb job, as usual, of defending that position.
He wondered if his lack of racing line might lead him to miss his braking point a few times whilst in that wheel-to-wheel combat. I think that's what he was struggling with earlier in the season, but he's done fairly well so far, and Mitchell will be getting very heated in the cockpit of that Red Bull.
Yeah, especially as they now have Ben and Harry cruising up behind them. I've lost my camera angle. He's down the inside into turn 1. He's had to barge him into the wall to get the job done, but he's done it. And he's up to 6th position. I don't know if Tom got any damage from that. I don't believe he did. Slight tap of the wall, if anything, but now Mitchell's got Martin in front of him to make matters even worse.
Well, Martin does have quite a lot of front wing damage, it seems, and these two do know each other fairly well, so I would imagine Martin would make this a lot easier for Mitchell than
yep,
Tom
he
did.
just pulls straight out the way. And now that means that Mitchell's got a nice 13.5 second gap in which to put his foot down. As long as he doesn't slap any more barriers, we might actually get some pace out the car.
Sean has lost a bit of his front left end plate there.
Oh,
just a little
sorry,
bit.
Harry diving down the inside of Tom into Raskas, nearly put them both in the wall. You had Martin pitting in the middle of that, and now you've got Ben trying to attack Tom down into turn 1. Backs out of
Ben's
it.
got front wing damage of his own, so that could be issues if he tries to take him down the inside, because he'll have a lot of understeer. But Tom is so slow in a straight line.
Oh, and he's put it in the wall there. I'm surprised Ben didn't pounce on him. I wish I'd get rid of this stupid camera angle that they've put me on. There we go.
Well, I think
better.
Ben just, like I said, Ben went down the inside, but realised that he's got not much downforce anymore on that front wing, so he's just understeered into Tom, and they've both hit the wall. Not ideal for him, but Harry got the job done quickly. He wasn't messing about. Now he'll have a huge gap in front of him in which to exploit the pace of those super soft tyres.
Down into the chicane. Ben can't really do much. Troy with a penalty. He's about to join the back of this queue if Ben doesn't get past Tom anytime soon. And he's almost pushing him through the chicane. I'm assuming Tom's probably going to pit. No, he doesn't. I mean, I can't remember how long these ultra softs work, but I mean, the top 4 haven't pitted yet, and we're on that 12.
I'm surprised Tom is still going, to be honest, but the top 4 have a dilemma. The undercut's pretty strong here, as we do have a yellow flag in sector 2. That's Thomas in the Toro Rosso. Yeah, I think again has caught his left rear. And he's been disqualified. He tried to flick spin it safely, but was driving the wrong way in the end, and that's got him disqualified. That's unfortunate. But just back to what I was saying, that the leaders are all on ultra softs. Ideally, you'd want to pit sort of around lap 8, 9, 10ish for super softs until the end of the race, but you run the risk of just dropping back into the pack and getting stuck. Fortunately, I mean, I'd say Sean doesn't have that issue. He could pit and come out around 4th place Milos, or at least you know, he won't get held up by anyone. So why the hesitation to pit, I'm not too sure. But people like Milos, Andrew, would be a bit more careful. They could come out in some traffic, and that's not what they want, especially considering the strong position that they're in right now.
This is turn. Oh, Tom finally pits. That releases Ben, Troy, and Gerard. Finally get some pace out of their cars. Does split the nice little battle that we had going, at least for now. But obviously once all the other pit stops have happened, we might have some more action, and these guys might get feisty with each other yet. Especially with Ben and his front wing damage.
Yeah, that could cause issues. I think Gerard's actually run a fairly handy little race, obviously getting that front wing damage on lap 1 and pitting, but since then, I mean, do you think Ben was up in the top 4 in the first stint? So after all of that calamity in the first lap, Gerard finds himself on the tail of some fairly quick guys here and back in the point. So if he can stretch these softs to the end of the race, that'll be really good for him, as Cass exits the pits in 4th, just behind Milos.
Oh, that's not what he wanted at all. We also had Jerry in the pits as well, in the McLaren. But yeah, Kaz would have wanted a little bit more fresh air than this. Maybe he should have stayed out a lap or 2 longer. But then again, I don't know what state his tyres were in when they came off the car, so maybe he just couldn't. But this is going to cost him big time. And depending on just how far behind Drew was when he pitted, as Sean pits from the lead, we've also got 2 Williamses in, I think.
Andrew boxes as well. Will Milos though, that's the thing that Cass will be hoping for.
Sean comfortably into the lead. Drew with a front wing change, so that might actually let Kaz off the hook a little bit. It does. He's already driven past the pits. Milos still somehow driving around. Mitchell up to 4th.
Being a nuisance.
Drew just coming out the pits in a very comfortable fist. Well, I say very comfortable. He's got Harry right behind him. So this could get interesting very quickly.
Yeah, Troy getting really close to the back of Ben here. Ben really struggling with that front wing damage, but Milos staying out will completely kill Cass's hopes. Obviously, Sean does have a penalty, so it wasn't completely out of reach. But being stuck behind Milos now, Milos is being more helpful to Sean than he ever was to me last season.
Yeah.
He'd hint at holding up Mitchell, but he was too nice. But he's absolutely parking it in front of Cass, who's losing probably over a second a lap at this point. And that could be Sean's race done and dusted.
Kaz needs to just make sure though that he doesn't get frustrated, cause any damage to himself, as Milos finally pits, so that releases Kaz to now try and close up at least a little bit of that 12-second gap that has now formed. I don't think he will though. Mitchell back up to third on those soft tyres. He's going to try and hope that in the remaining 13 laps of this race that he'll become a factor.
Harry's picked up
13 laps.
Harry's picked up 2 penalties in the space of about 30 seconds. So, and normally you'd attribute that to the front wing damage, but he's managed to do that, and there's no visual damage from what I can see. So that's very impressive. Good work from him. But yeah, the race looks to be settling down a bit. It's all about, can Troy get close enough to the back of Demon to force a move? Obviously these two have a bit of history after the last race. Will that be weighing on Troy's mind as he goes for a potential move?
For those of you that missed the race last week, it was the final lap, the final corner, as you've got yellows down here at the hairpin, at the chicane rather, and he has indeed spun it on the exit. When is Harry actually going to have a race with no issues?
When he starts practicing, I think that's his issue. If he puts the time in, he can get consistent at a track. He doesn't have races like this, unfortunately. I don't think he's quite got the drive. The championship's already over for him, and he'll just turn up quick enough. He's got that natural pace, but yeah, incident free is another thing, and he's been unable to do that so far this season.
Yeah, that's the problem that people have though. Natural raw pace isn't really going to get you very far. It'll bring you to the dance, but then you've got to get your way to the end of the race, and pure pace isn't going to do that. As Troy still is frustrating himself in that he can't get anywhere near Ben to pass him. And as I was just about to explain, if you missed the race last week, coming out of the chicane on the last lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, Ben got a puncture and obviously couldn't carry the corner speed, and Troy just crashed straight to the back of him, expecting him to still have all 4 tyres inflated, and yeah, caused a bit of fun in the post-race.
He's close to him this lap, but I think Ben looks to have decent straight line speed. Is Troy going to go for it? He's looking.
He is looking, but he'd be very stupid to try from back there. But he's holding on to him quite well. I mean, the gap's not really been above 0.4 of a second since we started following, and he might have a look into Mirrorboat down the inside. No, I thought he was going to try it, and I know if that was Sean, he definitely would have tried it. Remember, Sean was driving that car last season.
Well, I mean, Harry's only 7 seconds off, and he's got no visual front wing damage, so hopefully we'll see him join up and make it. Oh, Gerard misses his braking for the Nova chicane there and picks up a time penalty for his troubles, but yeah, it could be quite a big traffic jam come the end of the race if Ben manages to keep it up the wall for the rest of the race. It will be worth it. You don't want to pit and lose track position, that's pointless. But that being said, it is very likely that a number of cars between now and the end of the race will hit the wall hard enough to force a pit stop. So even if you think, oh, I won't pit, I'll stick it out, it might be worth just boxing and getting an undercut on those that eventually make their mistakes.
Well, Gatis might have just heard you, because he pits from the 10th position. I think he's getting a front wing change as well. He is indeed. Poor Williams, as if they weren't in enough financial problems as it was. They're now going to have to fork out millions on front wings.
You know what? If you go and flick between Sean and Cass on the offset T cam, Sean has a lot more front wing than Cass.
Oh, Gerard! Sorry.
Plate. Oh.
Gerard was all locked up going into the chicane. I thought he was going to try a dive bomb out of nowhere. Couldn't quite get it done. It looked a lot closer from the camera angle that I had.
Sean's pace is very, very impressive. I mean, his fastest lap's been consistently about 8/10 faster than Cass, and he looks to be running with front wing damage. So if that is the case, and it's not Codemaster, not Codemaster's messing with my my head, then that's really impressive from Sean. But just as we have started to think that he's got the race wrapped up, he does a Sean.
Yep.
And brings the gap now down to it's still 9 seconds. So we'd have to fuck up a lot more in the next 20 laps. But you'd have to make errors.
Terms of service, damn it. Terms of service.
But yeah, Sean hopefully can just rein it in a little bit and cruise to victory. Well, we don't really want that, but that's what he'll be hoping for, at least.
Yeah, we certainly don't want that. I mean, funny enough, they are teammates, remember? Sean and Cass in the in Mercedes firm. So who knows? Maybe they might turn into Red Bull at Baku and just kill each other. I mean, there's still the matter of 14.5 seconds as
Troy's made a mistake.
Troy puts it in the wall. Oh, that's going to be brave if you try it around the outside there and you can't do it. It's going to be very brave. That has, of course, given Ben a 1.5 second gap. But remember, he does have front wing damage, so these guys are probably going to close that up very quickly and are doing so. Gap immediately back down to a second.
Yeah, fair play to Gerald for trying. I think Troy seems to be really struggling now. Like, whether it was all his laps tucked up behind Ben getting frustrated, I don't know, but we had...
Sorry to cut across you. Gatis has put it in the wall and I just cut to him in time to watch it. I think he tried to go around the outside of Thomas down into... not Thomas, his... what's his name? Frederick. Oh, and who's that that's just joined the camera angle? That's Bullet as well, missing his braking point and going into the wall at turn 1.
Yeah, nice of Luke just to make sure Gatis was okay. Looks like he is, and he continued now.
That was indeed. But yeah, Gatis just trying to go around the outside of Frederick down into turn 1, and obviously 2 into 1 doesn't mix. And that was the end of Gatis' race. As Gerard and Troy are still going at it. As we have 16 laps remaining.
Cool. This is going like classic Monaco. If you think it feels long for us, it feels especially long for the drivers. I couldn't wait for the race last season to end, but the laps kept on coming. The front wings kept on falling off.
Yeah, it reminds me of Singapore, in which just nothing will end. Luke and Frederick in the pits. Frederick there coming up with a new front wing on the ultra soft, and you've got Luke changing his front wing and also putting on the ultra soft, which I'm assuming with 16 laps left will definitely go to the end of the race, because we saw the top 3 running them quite long.
I'm wondering what Red Bull are going to do here, because we've got Andrew on a superior strategy. faster tyres at this point, should have faster tyres by the end of the race. And Mitchell has actually just hit the wall at the back. He's lost a bit of his front wing, and never mind, that solves that question. I'm sure he'll let Andrew through here at Raskas. He does indeed. Does Mitchell box again? Yeah.
Yes, he does.
These conundrums keep sorting themselves out. That's a shame for Mitchell. That's his race. I mean, he could have gone to the end of those tyres fairly comfortably. He'd have had his teammate up his arse all the way to the end, but it'll come out in 5th fairly handsomely. I think Ben is a long way back now with that front wing damage.
Yeah, he's back out on the super soft tyre. I'm assuming he probably doesn't have any ultra soft tyres left. As Ben pits, his front wing has cried enough, so he's coming to get that changed. That, of course, releases Troy and Gerard to continue their fight. It'll be interesting to see if Troy gets anywhere near closer to Mitchell, but I don't believe so, as Ben goes back out on the ultra soft tyre. I think he's going for the fastest lap at this point.
2 different tactics there. I mean, the ultra softs will get to the end of the race from here, but Mitchell choosing to go that bit harder. Just the super softs will have a little bit more duration to them, so that he's got some tyres to fight with at the end of the race, and that's where Mitchell's race would be. He's got a 16-second gap. Catch me, I think he can make that time up, but if he was on the ultras, he wouldn't have any. Oh, and he's hit the wall at the back on the inside, gone into the outside wall, and done exactly the same as what he did on the last lap, and has lost his right front end plate again. If he pits, he might be able to get out ahead of Ben at least. I think he might fall behind that trio of Troy, Gerard and Harry. So that is a shame for Mitchell, and he hopes that the top 4 go out the window with that one. Unless, of course, Milos or Andrew decides to put it in the wall himself.
Yeah, I think at this point he's just got to stay out, otherwise Red Bull are going to run out of front wings. And we've got the same battle. I'm going to call this our Armageddon section of the race. Troy, Gerard, and now Harry. 3 drivers. I mean, a lap ago through the chicane we had Gerard trying to push Troy through it, so definitely getting racy.
Harry's on the best tyres out of all of them then, on the super soft, and of course he pitted quite a lot later, I think, than especially Gerard, who boxed on that one. So it's good for us that we've got the supposedly fastest man in the group at the back, but unfortunately it's Monaco and there's not much you can do about it.
Oh, Gerard's made a mistake somewhere because he's losing time. I don't know if he hit barrier or something, but he just suddenly lost 1.5 seconds to Troy. Whereas he was all over the back of him, so he might have made a mistake somewhere.
Tell you what, Tom's actually done a great job. He's kept it reasonably clean after, okay, leaving his car on the inside up to back at the start of the race wasn't too wise. And he's had a front wing change, but after all of that, he's only had the 1 pit stop, and he's sitting in the points paying positions. He's got 19 seconds to the car ahead and 19 seconds to the car behind, so very possible that he could get points on his first race back.
I will agree with you there, he has done a very good job. I mean, he left the league pretty much because he didn't have the time to practice without the racing line. And he's come to pretty much what I would say would be the hardest track to do that with. And yeah, like you said, he's nicely in the points at this point, as Sean and Gerard give themselves penalties.
Yeah, Troy's just done a Mitchell into the back, hit the inside, clipped the inside like a Ralf Schumacher 2005, and it's spat him out into the outside wall, so he's now lost half of his front wing. Gerard has got excited and then cut the following chicane. Harry almost loses it out of Sandoval. That was a beautiful slide, but yes, now we've got the leader of this group with front wing damage. It's brilliant.
And there goes Tom giving himself a 3-second time penalty. Oh, I've got to say, is this going to be like another one of our classic races where the last 5 laps is where the action is?
Troy can barely get around those hairpins, so I would hope he stays out and gives us some action, but it might be smart for him to pit, considering, you know, he'd come out behind Ben and maybe able to give him a good run to the end of the race.
From the off-board shot, he didn't have that much front wing damage, but looking on board, he's got a fair bit, actually. I would like Gerard to send it, but he can't get close enough, especially since he's also got front wing damage, as does Harry. But we've got to be patient. We've got 11 laps remaining. I've got 11 laps remaining. My God. This just doesn't stop.
We're going to have to find things to talk about that aren't related to the race.
Am I going to mention Drew's fantasy game yet? Maybe not.
No.
I may mention our power rankings. As
yes.
Gerard has a look down the inside of Troy and can't get it done. That's the only problem that Gerard has at this point, is that if he tries to be too aggressive trying to pass Troy, he needs to remember that he's got Harry right behind him. Oh, and what happened with Ben? Ben is out of the race.
Looks like a, a disconnection. Or maybe he's got bored. I mean, he was in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And Harry, I cannot believe I've switched away to Ben just as that's happened. I have no idea what's happened.
What happened there? Harry's just passed the pair of them. He must have cut
There's
that
no
chicane.
way. He didn't get a penalty from what I saw. I'm so... Ben! Why would you do that?
So Ben's disconnected. And Harry has somehow managed to get past both Troy and Gerard.
Gerard has a lot more front wing damage than he did before, so there must have been some contact leading up to that. We are awful commentators.
I just noticed on the timing screen that Harry's time went green and they went red and flicked back to it.
I mean, we'll blame Ben.
And we'll blame Ben and his disconnection, yeah, definitely. Now we're down to just 2 cars in the Armageddon section as he's already pulled a 2.5 second gap.
Gerard looking down the inside of the Never chicane, but I mean, those softs have got to be on their last legs fairly soon. He's been on them since lap 1. So they'll just about get to the end of the race, but they will not be fun right now as Caribbean Crush gets a penalty for cutting that part of the swimming pool complex. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but front wing damage is a wonderful thing. He's now lost... He lost more of his wing?
No,
I don't think so.
The same amount of front wing that he had a couple of laps ago.
Gerard's having a look, but he just can't quite get close enough, and you can't really send it at a track like this, unfortunately.
And yes, King Rockhammer, I did cut to a disconnected car, but you never know with this game, that might not have been a disconnection. So that is why I obviously went to look at it. He might have just stuck it in the wall and then decided to rage quit or something, I don't know. As Mitchell gives himself a penalty. Oh, I thought he was going to give himself another one there. His front wing looking about 3rd or 4th hand at this point. I think it's looking a bit like Katie Price at this point, to be perfectly honest.
Luke's looking at the back of Martin there for the fight for 13th place. Luke now has pitted for a new front wing, and looks like they're gonna fight over that.
Oh, and they've got the leader behind them. Luke gets nicely out of the way.
Cat's
that might
clouting
actually...
the wall.
Might have been Kaz not... Oh. Oh, this is going to give Luke the opportunity and the position. Very nice opportunistic drive in there. Let the car in front get lapped and then pounce. So he's now up to the 13th place. Martin's probably going to be very unhappy with that. I know I would be. As we go back to Troy and Gerard. Now just 0.3 away from each other. Gerard having a look. Almost puts himself in the barrier. He's starting to get a bit frustrated now, I think. I'll have to also go back and see last season what our biggest overall winning margin was.
Well, Ben was on to win it by about 50 seconds, I think, but then pitted with 3 laps to go for ultra softs just to set a fastest lap to do the Grand Slam on us all. But Clay, well, he was pretty dominant. And then the season before that, if we go back to season 8, Harry actually won here by, I think, 40 seconds. To Mikey. I finished 3rd that race and Harry almost lapped me.
Oh,
so Monaco does tend to produce these runaway victories in this league.
Yeah, Monaco does give you a massive field spread. As it
Harry
does in real life.
Gets lapped. What a difference 2 seasons makes.
Oh, Gerard, what are you doing? That scared Troy to miss the chicane. As Ben rejoins. I'm pretty sure these two are going to end up crashing into each other at some point.
There's an opportunity. Ooh. It's difficult enough to go side by side on this track, but when both cars are lacking severe amounts of downforce, it's nigh on impossible. So, Gerard being very sensible, to be fair, not doing anything that he might regret. It's decent points for him right now.
We've got yellows in sector 3. Although I don't really want to cut away from this battle because it looks like Gerard's about to get very racy and just send it.
I can't find the yellows. I can't find any car that's dead.
Yeah, the timing screen also didn't really display that. Nobody lost a huge amount of time. And nobody lost any position, so not quite sure what that was about. Who is that McLaren cruising up to the back of these two? Is that it's Jerry. Jerry on the ultra soft tyre is just cruising up to these two at fast rate of knots. So I wonder if he's going to try and unlap himself against them. Then again, Jerry's smarter than that, so I don't think he will.
Yeah, I think it's just an unfortunate situation. You've got to sit behind them. I doubt those two are going to coordinate letting him through just so that he can go on his merry way. So it might just be. I think he's actually dropping back voluntarily just to get a bit of space and have some fun. But awkward situation for him. I think it has to be said, Andrew has shown really good pace this race. He's closed on Cass by about 3 seconds over the course of this stint. Perhaps even more, and his fastest lap is slightly quicker. So Drew, displaying the promise that he showed in practice and warm up for this race, and will get his 2nd podium of the season.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to become a set of 2 battles shortly, because Gerard down the inside. Oh, and he's put himself in the wall. Oh, and Ben there trying not to hit him, and here comes the race leader through as well. He almost got collected up in that. And
yeah,
my bad, that's not the race leader, that's Kaz.
At the end of the day, Gerard can just pit now for ultra softs, and he'll still come out about 15 seconds ahead of 9th place Tom. I hope he recognises that and pits. he does indeed. So really nothing to lose for him in that move, and it was probably worth a go. He'd been sitting behind him for long enough, and the gap was there. He had the run, so just couldn't quite fit the two cars through that narrow section of track. But like I said, nothing lost. He'll keep his 4 points for 8th place and take them very happily, I think.
Yeah, we do have 3 laps of this race remaining. The last few laps have gone quite quickly, but of course that does mean that our races are pretty much finished. Looking at the timing, as Harry gives himself another penalty. That could actually... oh no, wait, Troy's got a couple of penalties himself, so that might not give Troy 6. But Harry's absolutely flying. He's already 7 seconds on the road in front of Troy.
And he's pitting.
And he's pitted, so that makes me look stupid, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure the Ultra Softs will be out.
Yep, they're in the box there. In he comes. No change of front wing, and out he goes.
He'd rather have the fastest lap than the 2 extra points for finishing 6th, I think.
Which is an odd strategy in itself, but there we go. How long has he got? He's got 2 and a bit laps left, and he's 10.5 seconds back. I don't think he'll be that quick enough to get anywhere near Troy, unfortunately, because that might be a decent scrap towards the end. But we do have 2 laps officially left of this race. I'm not entirely sure who my driver of the day will be. Probably Drew at this point. Well, Milos has done a very good job there in 4th.
Yep, shame he couldn't do that for Williams, but yeah, he's...
Ooh, not salty at all.
Yeah, considering his sort of comeback on a one-off return, I think he's done a stellar job. Kept it clean and was running around in a deserved 4th place. But yeah, driver of the day, not so obvious today, but I mean, Sean hasn't exactly done a bad job. He's leading by 22.5 seconds.
Yeah, and just quickly, I just got to say thank you everybody that was watching and is currently watching the stream. I think by far this is the most successful. I saw about 27 viewers at one point, looking at my counter. So thank you very much for that, and I hope you do stick around for the rest of the season. Not every race is going to be this drawn out. And of course head over to the YouTube channel where you can watch some of the other races we've had this season, and there have been some crackers as Troy gives himself another penalty. And you know how I said that Harry probably wasn't going to catch up to Troy?
Oh my word, that happened quickly.
Where did that come from?
I want to see if Troy lets Drew pass and then Drew lets Andrew, because that will probably be Harry's attempt at the fastest lap, and he's just been absolutely blocked in the final sector. So it'll probably you see the... Oh, Drew's went it a bit wide. Harry's going to take him. There's no point in staying behind him. Go for it, Sam.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's got to disappear up the road now because he's a lapped car. He needs to get within that. He needs to get out of that distance where they're going to start waving blue flags at him. Otherwise, he'll get a penalty, or we'll have to give it back, which in turn will give the place back to Troy. Surely. He needs to push like mad. Although I don't know how many penalties Harry's got as we're on this final lap. He might run out of time.
I think he's only got. I think he's got 9 seconds of penalties. Troy has 9 seconds as well by the looks of it, so I think...
Oh, so it might have equalled itself out. As Sean crosses the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix, while all of that was going on. Very solid drive for him to finish 25 seconds ahead of his teammate, who comes out the final corner now. Ben has also taken the checkered flag. Harry takes the checkered flag as well and sets the fastest lap right at the end. Drew also crosses the line to take third. Very, very good drive from him. Milos going to cross the line to take a very deserved fourth place. And Mitchell's going to cruise through the last few corners to take fifth. That's Tom in front of him as well to take ninth place. Very good job by him on his return without the racing line. And then somewhere Frederick is going to cross the line now. As Mitchell sort of held back to let him through, strangely enough. But that is your Monaco Grand Prix done and dusted. For another game, of course we won't go back to Monaco until 2018 comes out. There's your podium. 2 Mercedes and a Red Bull, which we haven't seen a lot of this season in terms of real life. So there we go. There's your official standings. Sean taking the victory from Kaz. Drew there in 3rd position. Milos in 4th. Mitchell in 5th, Harry in 6th, Troy in 7th, Gerard in 8th, Frederick in 9th, and Tom rounding out your point scorers. And of course we've got Luke, Jerry, Martin, Ben, and your 3 retirements. Including Thomas, who was disqualified earlier on in the race. So it has come to that point in the stream where I do have to, of course, ask you, who is your driver of the day officially?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, Drew did put in a good race, Milos as well, on his return. I think Gerard actually has to be credited some way. Qualified a bit higher today, which was good, and showed fairly good pace with half a front wing behind Troy, but Sean was just too dominant for me to ignore him today, so Sean is my driver of the day.
And Drew is going to be my driver of the day. Just purely on the fact that he kept it clean, he drove a good race, and yeah, ended up in the 3rd place. Unlike his teammate, that I think hit about every single wall around here. So yeah, he's my driver of the day. Next race might be more in the same, because the next race next week is the Canadian Grand Prix. Plenty more walls to crash into. So we do, of course, hope to see you for that. Hope you enjoyed this stream. Obviously, the VOD of this will be going up on the YouTube channel and will, of course, remain on here for the next, I think, 14 days. And, of course, if you did like it, you can go over to Race Department and join in the festivities there on the website. Any more from you, Michael?
No. Other than that, you know, I think the race did at least provide enough entertainment. Monaco's always questionable. You sort of, during the real life season, we sort of enjoy qualifying and then endure the race. But today, thankfully, we're not blessed with 20 highly paid professional athletes in our lobbies, and we do actually get to see some action, some drama, some mistakes. So I think it was a fairly successful race.
Yep, I would agree with that. So, from myself and Michael, we're going to bid you farewell for this week. But like I said, join us, of course, next week for the Canadian Grand Prix.